Welcome back to Movies That Matter. I'm your host, Chris Flaherty. Thank you for joining us. And I hope you got the reference because we're talking about The Goonies today, the 1985 film directed by Richard Donner, written by Chris Columbus, and produced by Steven Spielberg. And I'm very excited to finally have my buddy Robert Parris on the podcast. Robert, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me on.
Of course. No, I'm glad. I mean, you should have been, one of the first ones to get on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because, you sit 10 feet away from me.
Yeah.
Robert's a crack sports reporter here at Burlington Cable Access Television, and he loves the Goonies, or he's been talking the Goonies up to me for probably ever since I met you.
Yeah.
So, let's get into it. This is long overdue. All right, Robert. Can you tell me, in your own words, what this film is about?
So, this film is about houses on the Goondocks, which is set in Oregon, and they're going to be a foreclosure is about to happen. So they call themselves the Goonies. We have Mikey, Bran, who are both brothers. We have their friend Data, who's somewhat of an inventor. We have Chunk, whose name is Lawrence, but they call him Chunk. He's mostly the heavy kid, and he just eats and just basically annoys everybody by saying all these crazy stories. And we have Mouth, who's basically just the person who's very wise, and not wise in that term, but if you know what wise I'm talking about, basically
he's a smart mouth.
He's a smart mouth.
Yeah.
And we have, that's really the whole game. So basically they're upset because it's a Saturday night and it's their last weekend together, because the next day Mikey and Bran's father, Mr. Walsh, he has to sign a foreclosure because they're going to demolish all their homes and make it all a whole golf course. So they're trying to find a way to just stop that from happening within one day. And basically, Mikey's father works for the museum in Oregon, and in their attic, they have all these museum stuff, historical stuff. They come upon a map, which little foreshadowing, Chunk breaks. So he breaks the thing from the glass. So Mikey tells him to break the glass because Chunk's very clumsy. But I think I'm going off.
I'm forgetting, but keep going.
Okay, so they find the map of and it's basically the Oregon of all the maps, and they find this pirate guy named One-Eyed Willie who says there's basically treasure, and they're looking for a guy. The last guy who came out alive in the cave is Chester Copperpot. Now, along this, we're going to go on an adventure. They all go on an adventure looking for the gold and the riches and stuff like that. At the beginning of the film, we see three people named the Fratellis. We have Francis, Jake, and Mama Fratelli. I don't know what her first name is, but they just call her Mama. Ma. And basically, they're criminals. Jake is actually a counterfeiter. Francis is basically the killer, and he's also the favorite of Mama Fratelli. And Mama Fratelli is just
she's the kingpin of the crime family.
Yep. So basically, when the kids go find the treasure, they stumble upon the Fratelli's hideout, and basically under the basement or under their cave or whatever, it's like a restaurant.
It's a hideout. It's like an abandoned restaurant. Yeah.
Rats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They come across the Fratelli's other brother, which they abuse, which is very sad. I know you saw it, that scene where they're throwing the food at him.
Sloth, yeah.
Yeah, Sloth. And basically, he's basically, how do I say this without... He's
deformed.
Yeah, he's deformed.
Yeah,
he's deformed. And he's just... And later on in the scene, you see Chunk and Sloth, they have a friendship bond relationship.
A very unlikely duo.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to see that. So, that's mostly the plot. It feels like I'm going to go way too in-depth with it feels like I'll go scene by scene of what they say, but...
I mean, you get the neighborhood is closing down.
Right.
So these kids who live in this neighborhood together, this group of friends, they go on a treasure hunt to save the neighborhood.
Yep.
Now, I'm very fortunate that this is the first time I've seen the Goonies. I always like when this podcast introduces me to new movies. I knew what the Goonies was. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I heard the name. I never really knew what it was. So thank you for introducing me to this new movie. I really enjoyed it. how did you first learn about this film?
Someone gave it to me for Christmas back in December 2001. I think it was a DVD or something, and I just watched it from there, and I just loved it. I don't know what it's about. I think it's just very, like, entertaining. It's just, like, you get to know the characters, like, just right from the start. Like, it's not like a movie where just, like, 20 minutes in, okay, how's this?
Yeah.
So you know the characters, and they basically say, like, what's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
Go finish your thought.
And it's just like very suspenseful. You don't know really what's going to happen next.
And you mentioned the opening sequence, and that was one of the first notes I wrote down. Like, the opening sequence is, like, really well done.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Because
you wouldn't even think it's a kid's movie.
Right.
Because you're just like, okay, it's probably going to be like, you probably thought in your mind, all right, it's open with a skull, a crossbone. And you're saying, okay, what are they going to show?
Not even that. It opens with someone who's, like, well, appears to have hung himself in prison.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you're just like, ooh, this is
And then it's like,
dark.
oh, no, it's a prison escape scene. Then you meet this crime family.
Yeah.
And you don't really know.
You see, like,
you
a
think they're
gun.
just, like, some average, like... It's funny how you meet the antagonist before you meet the protagonist in this movie.
Usually you don't see that.
You don't know they're the antagonist yet. And I like how through the chase scene, through the town, you're introduced to everyone else.
Yep.
It's very cleverly setting the
Yep.
groundwork for everything that's going to come after that.
Well, some little profanity words in this movie. Again, this is the PG of the 80s.
PG of the 80s.
So this could have been a rated PG-13 in today, or maybe R.
Oh, right off the bat, I mean, the guy hanging himself, that would have been PG-13.
Oh, yeah.
Well, pretending to hang himself. Do you remember who gifted you the DVD for Christmas?
It was my mom's cousin's wife.
And did they give you any, like, prior knowledge of this movie, or?
No.
No,
No.
really?
My mother's seen it.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, the Goonies. I remember that year. I got a lot of VHS and DVDs, and that was, I think, because the Goonies released on DVD in August 2001 of that year, so it was pretty brand new to DVD, and and I just watched it and loved it.
Support physical media, folks. And we were talking a little bit before. You have a few versions of this movie.
Yes, so let me clear my throat. I apologize.
That's okay.
So the first version I had, which I found at a used book superstore back in the Square One Mall, like probably maybe 10 years ago, because it closed since then.
Yeah.
It was a 1986 VHS, and when I open it, it says the Fuji on it, like the Fuji, that old school stuff. I also have the 2001 VHS, which is like the Warner Bros. Family Entertainment. It says the Goonies, has a different art to it. I have the 2001 DVD, which has the same artwork as the 2001 VHS, and I also have the 4K version of it.
Nice. So, you really enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember what really stuck out to you the first time you watched it?
There was a lot of stuff that was happening throughout the thing. Like, all the characters were being introduced. It just felt like they just really, like, when I first watched it, it feels like they weren't getting along. Like, they were all yelling at each other at the Walsh's house. You're like, all right, what is going... You just don't know what's going on. You have Mouth who's babbling off. You have Chung who's eating some chips. You have Data basically talking about where they're moving to. You have Bran exercising. You have Mikey talking about Chester Copperpot. No. Well, that's up in the attic, but he's like basically saying, man, we got to find a way. We got a day left. And Bran's saying, it's not going to happen. The mother comes home. She's very... frantic, and she's always like, oh, what's going on?
And she's hired the maid.
Yeah, she's hired a maid who's actually one of the cameraman's wife. She speaks.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Lupe something. And basically there's a scene in that house where Mouth is translating Spanish to her, and that was probably, I'm like, yep, he's gonna be a smart mouth about it, that too, with the subtitles, as you saw.
Yeah. I saw it kind of reminded me of like a kiddie Indiana Jones movie in a way, or even like Indiana Jones meets Rugrats,
right?
Some ways.
Every time I see this now, because I think of Stranger Things. I really do. Yeah. I really think of that. Like, oh, this is like the early Stranger Things before Stranger Things.
Yeah, I only watched the first season of Stranger Things. Sorry to the Stranger Thing fans out there, but yeah, like I definitely see the inspiration right there. When I watched the first season of Stranger Things, I'm like, oh, this is very like 80s Spielberg fantasy and stuff. Yeah. But we're not here to talk about Stranger Things. you're a lover of nostalgia in the 90s. I have a question for you. Have you ever seen the Hey Arnold movie?
Yes, the 2002 release.
Do you think the Hey Arnold movie copied a little bit of this?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say the Foreclosure definitely did that, but they didn't go on like a weird treasure hunt. Like
Foreclosing the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, what were they looking for in the Hey Arnold movie? I don't remember. I should have looked it up.
I think they're gonna try to stop the corporate guy.
They were trying. Yeah, he was bulldozing the neighborhood.
Yeah, I forget. There was a reason he was doing something like illegal, or I forget why
they were looking for something or trying to do something to stop him.
Yeah.
But very early on, I caught like a Hey Arnold the movie connection.
Yeah.
So what about like the story and the characters really connected with you?
It feels like I'm like, I don't know if you agree with this. It feels like I'm Chunk in a way. I don't know if I'm really
tell me about that.
I don't know if I'm really that annoying.
No, you're not.
I mean, I do like food, but not to that extent.
I do.
I don't know if I really make up stories. Maybe I do, but I don't really know. I mean, I think the characters are all good in a way. They have their own...
It's a very good cast.
Yeah.
I sort of like... I think they tapped into something where, like, back in the day when, like, we were younger and, like, we just played around the neighborhood with the neighborhood kids. Yeah. And then we would just go off and, like, play pretend on some random adventure.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that, but...
It wasn't a pretend.
Yeah, it wasn't pretend.
Real.
Yeah, it's tapping into that, like, fantasy of youth going on an adventure and somehow surviving.
Yeah.
Surviving gangsters on a pirate ship and booby traps.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Death,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of close death scenes.
A lot of close death scenes.
Like, really close. I'm like, wow, this is really...
Data almost gets impaled.
Yeah. All of them when they'd go to the piano, like the Bones piano, like they almost got killed.
Mm-hmm. And also they're just dealing with a dead body for a good portion of time. Chunk gets locked in a freezer with a dead body.
I don't know how they got away with that, but it's just like, and then there was a scene where he's like, guys, look in the window!
I don't know how they didn't realize Chunk wasn't with them for an extended period of time.
They realized Chunk wasn't with them when they're in the cave. Where's Chunk?
Which is astounding to me because Chunk is the loudest one.
Yeah.
And I love the scene where he's calling the cops and the sheriff already knows him.
Yeah.
And he's like, is this another one of your stories, Lawrence? And he's like, no, Sheriff, this one's real. And then one of my favorite references in the movie, when he's like, is this about the creatures where if you get them wet, they multiply?
Yes, I was actually going to stop you right there because you did movies that matter with Flynn Rider and the Belt Gremlins. Mm-hmm. So I think the reason they did that because it's basically the same thing. Chris Columbus and Steven Spielberg worked on Gremlins, which came out a year prior.
Right.
So it was very, so they had to do it.
Yeah. They both sort of fall into the same category of movies, like kids on like a fantasy adventure and
I mean, Billy in that movie was a little
I guess Billy wasn't really a kid.
Yeah, he looked like a young adult.
Yeah.
Like these are like kids.
Yeah.
Like maybe Bran, Andy, and then Steph. Yeah, they're like probably 18 or so, but everyone else is a kid.
Yeah. Andy and Steph just show up.
Yeah, with Troy. The other antagonist. How many antagonists we got in this film?
I don't know. I wrote in my notes that Troy's a dick.
Yes.
Because he just comes out of nowhere and then just...
We allowed to say that?
I'll censor it for the TV version.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just grabs the little girl bike and sends Bran flying.
Yeah.
Possibly
Come on,
to several...
Walsh. Let's go for a ride. With his 80s, like his surfer voice. I'm like...
Yeah. Bran could have gotten really hurt there. Let's just be real here for a second. As far as like classic movie villains, what do you think of the Fratellis? How do they like rank up?
The only time I really see them as villains per se is when Mouth put himself in this situation by mouthing off. Mm-hmm. She has him in like the ton out with the knife near his thing. That was a bit scary. Mm-hmm. When they have Chunk basically trying to cut his arm off.
They're going to put his arm in a blender. Yeah.
And then, I mean, I think basically they're just trying to kill the kids. Like, they're just trying to kill everybody.
I know. It's like do they even want the treasure at first?
No, it feels like they just wanted just to more murder.
They just wanted to get the kids out of the way.
Because before the kids went into the restaurant, so basically the restaurant is basically where the cave is way down in the basement. They kill 2 people.
Yeah.
They put one body, they drive off, and then they put the other body in the freezer with all the ice cream with chunks. So I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. And not the brightest set of criminals.
No.
Yeah.
You can't... if they're trying to make it like a family friendly, you got to make the criminals kind of like dim-witted a little bit. You got to maybe, but it's the 80s, so it's not like but you got to make them like, okay, they look kind of scary.
Yeah, it reminds me, and you probably know where I'm going with this. It reminds me of the bandits from Home Alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're not like
which Chris Columbus directed.
It's all connected. Because the bandits really have no like stake with the kids. Like, there's no direct beef with them.
No.
They just want them out of their hideout.
Yeah.
And then somehow they find out, like, oh, there's a treasure down here.
Because Chunk told him because he was going to get killed.
Yeah. And also, like, you've been living above this cavern for how long? And you don't know? So.
Well, the reason they don't know because the map and the bloom was in the Walsh's attic, so they wouldn't even know.
Oh, okay.
Because they wouldn't know. The only reason they knew is because Chunk told them. Okay. And the bats came out from the thing, and that's when they went down.
I forgot. I didn't realize. I forgot to.
Yeah.
I didn't forget. I just didn't.
Yeah.
Like the map was not common knowledge to everyone.
The map in the doubloon was not was in their possession. It was in the Walsh's house.
Yeah.
Up in the attic, so that's why.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the cast of this film? There's a lot of like, you go, where are they now? And like a lot of these people are famous now.
I thought the cast was great. I mean. 2 of them, I believe, Josh Brolin and Mr. Kwan have one.
Kwan, yeah.
Kihei Kwan.
Kihei Kwan.
Kihei Kwan.
Yeah.
They
just
both
won an Oscar.
Yeah. So, and he did say in his speech that his brother for life is Jeff Cohen, who's Chunk. Mm-hmm. And he was there on the red carpet with him.
Wow.
Or after.
Isn't that great?
And he saw Harrison Ford again. So that it was, and Steven. So it was a bittersweet moment.
Yeah,
just to see that happen. It's just like he was a great character in the movie playing Data.
Yeah, he's my favorite character in the whole movie.
He's awesome.
I love his little devices. Like what do they call them?
Blinos. I forget.
Bully blinders. The pinchers of peril. And there was the pinchers got 2 names. I don't remember what they were, but like he's just like a little James Bond.
Yeah.
A lot of like crazy inventions. He was definitely my favorite. Out of all of them.
But the year prior in '84, he was in with an Indiana Jones. He played Short Round. So that the reason he got cast is another behind the scenes stuff. Mm-hmm. He got cast because he worked with Spielberg.
Yep.
And Spielberg say, "I'm doing a movie called The Goonies. Do you want to be in it?" He's like, "Sure." And he's like, "Okay, audition."
Yeah.
And they just came up with a character named Data, kind of like like an Indiana Jones sort of thing. I have this and he's like, "All right, we'll cast him." And he was like forever grateful to work with Spielberg and Indiana Jones, and it comes full circle as he just won an Academy Award. So good for him. I don't want to tear up about it. But.
No, it's a great story because he did Indiana Jones Temple of Doom and he did the Goonies, and I don't know if he did a lot after that.
Yeah, I didn't really see him after that.
He's been very like open and public about like how he struggled to like get work after like his 2 famous child roles, and then the Daniels like saw him for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and now his career is back. At least I hope it's back.
So did you know he was in the Goonies before I told you about the Goonies?
No, I thought he was just Short Round.
No, he was in the Goonies.
Yeah. And I recognized him instantly because I just rewatched all the Indiana Jones movies.
Like, wait a minute, that's him.
Yeah, well also like...
And the entrance he makes in the beginning of the film when he's on the...
Yeah.
Well, no, he does the invention for like in the garbage bin.
Yeah, and he pulls himself. Yeah.
Yeah, during the opening credits, and then
he crashes through the. Yeah, he's hilarious. And then we have Sean Astin.
Yep, whose late father was John Astin, and his mother was Patty Duke.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mr. I don't even remember Rudy's name. The football player Rudy.
Yep, and he's also Sam in Lord of the Rings trilogy.
He's in Stranger Things, too, isn't he? Yep. I was, kind of like...
You're just like, wow, I know a bunch of...
I know, and...
Corey Feldman.
Yep. Young Josh Brolin.
Yep.
Doesn't look like his facial structure hasn't changed much. Love his line, "I'm going to hit you so hard when you wake up, your clothes are going to be out of style." Yeah. And in the context of like today, I think the child actors are the most famous ones.
Yeah.
I don't recognize any. Well, I know Martha Plimpton, I think, is Steph. I think she's like a semi like.
She was in
actress.
some like show, like a TV show that really didn't last long. I forget what it was. It was on Fox. I mean, and then Carrie Green was in Lucas with Corey Haim.
Okay.
That came out in '86. She was also in Summer Rental, which came out the same year, '85, which was with the late John Candy. That movie, I'll go really off topic really quick. That movie is about he's a air traffic control pilot, and he just want to take his family to just going on the beaches, just a summer vacation, and everything all goes awry.
What's this called?
Summer Rental.
Summer Rental with John Candy?
Yes.
I'm writing this down. It sounds interesting. I haven't watched a lot of John Candy movies, regrettably. But I love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I want to talk about Sloth for a minute.
Yes.
Who plays Sloth again?
So Sloth is played by John Matusak. And who is John Matusak, you say? He was an NFL player for the Oakland Raiders, which are now the Las Vegas Raiders, with Josh McDaniels from the Patriots. He actually, if you see in a scene where he's like eating the baby Ruth with a chunk, he gets up, chunk's still in the chair, and he's like, Sloth. You can see it says Raiders.
Oh, like
on his shirt it says he's basically representing his team from that time.
Oh, I did not see that.
He was also in a guest episode of MASH, and when you see him, he looks nothing like Sloth because they did the makeup really, really, really well for the 80s.
That makeup is incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I'm sitting there trying to figure out, because, like, Sloth's eyes are not...
Yeah,
like...
so what they did, they had, like, a prosthetic eye.
Oh, okay.
And they had one of his real eyes right here, and they had a prosthetic eye, like, here.
Yeah.
And they put a big chin. They had like the chin filled with like the 3 teeth.
And
then the ears are animatronic. His eye on his, I think it's his right eye. Or, I don't know. I gotta see if I'm
the eye that is like down.
The one
lopsided.
that's down. That's
animatronic.
That's an animatronic. When you see him blink, his eyelids are like they can blink.
Yeah.
There's like certain things they used real, and then they used like an animatronic.
Wow.
But it was mostly John Matusak doing it.
I really enjoy, like, I wrote this down. I was like, practical effects are just not something we see in movies anymore. It's all CGI.
Like, they took, I think that was took one of the longest things they took. And there's another special effect thing, which I know this happens at the end of the movie, so I don't want to get ahead of the thing.
That's fine.
But I will mention it. I know you mentioned the octopus.
Yeah. That, like... randomly, Data like mentions an octopus, and I'm like, there was no octopus. I looked it up, but you go ahead.
Okay, so there is an octopus in the deleted scenes. So these scenes are in the 4K and DVD, Blu-ray, all that. Obviously not the VHS.
Yeah.
So this scene, I will talk about it in the octopus scene. Steph thinks Mouth is basically touching her from like their legs, like underwater.
Yep.
And it's the octopus, and she's basically saying, "Cut it out, Mouth." He's like, "I'm not doing anything." She slaps him, and then the octopus comes up from above and basically starts attacking both of them, strangling them. Ooh. So Data has a cassette player, puts it in when it goes underwater, puts it in the octopus's mouth, closes it, and basically they let Steph and Mouth go because I was listening to them. Groovy 80s music, and it just flies away. If you haven't checked out the deleted scene... I'm going to
have to check this out.
Yeah,
I knew it was a deleted scene, but I remember watching it last night, and I'm like, especially the octopus, I'm like, what are you doing?
No, I don't know why they didn't cut that out, but he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
If they added that back in the cut. But.
Well, there's another thing that they should have probably cut out, but didn't.
Yeah.
My favorite goof. Go ahead.
There's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's other deleted scenes. There's one where they stop because you don't see them, because all of a sudden you just see them going on the shore and they have their jackets on.
Yes.
Yeah, so the reason, because they stop at a convenience store first.
Okay.
And they get all their stuff. Like you see like a map and you see all that. Troy's in there, Steph, Andy's in there, so that's...
And Troy is the son of the guy who is...
Basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not something that...
Rich, like the end, like, you're looking at the richest people in Astoria.
Yeah. That's not something that is offered to us.
Astoria.
Yeah.
So there's that deleted scene. There's also a scene which I saw in the Goonies unauthorized documentary, which they're all in. there was a scene. So do you remember the scene when they're obviously under the tunnel and there's all these pipes with the water and stuff like that?
Yes.
They're banging on them. There's a scene where they cut it out, and it was directed by Spielberg because he wrote the scene, but it was completely cut from the film. And so when they banged on one of the pipes, it freed all of the gorillas from the zoo. And basically they steal, and you can look this up. They steal Troy's red car, and they just drive around. The police are chasing them. Yeah,
wow.
There's storyboard to it, just storyboard.
Yeah.
They filmed the entire scene, completely cut from the film. There's an alternate ending as well.
What's the ending?
Instead, it's
alternate ending.
The alternate ending is, well, it's basically the same ending except they're at the Walsh's house.
Okay.
And it's basically actually Chunk. I'm sorry. Everyone's wearing different clothes, and Sloth is actually wearing just normal clothes like you and I. He's not wearing a Superman or anything like that. I don't know why that definitely was filmed because there's like principal photography about like all those photos from it. So like, all right, I guess they're not going to use that, but maybe in 2025 they'll release an extended version or an alternate version, but. Yeah, those are scenes that have been cut. So
yeah. I think I like the whole shot of the pirate ship getting free at the end.
Yeah.
Also, like another I don't know if that shot, but they actually built a pirate ship.
Yes, and actually the reactions, except I believe for Corey Feldman and Sean Astin, because they were not supposed to see the pirate ship, everyone else's reaction were real. That was the first time they've ever saw it.
Which is great.
So they filmed everything in chronological order, which usually movies don't really do anymore.
No, they don't.
They had to do it because of the ship was being built during that. So they filmed everything in chronological order, and then when they did that, they had their real reaction. They said, all right, open up, and they...
Yeah.
And the water, when they're going through the slide, I wish I can go on that.
I can't remember
when before they drop down in the water. That was pretty cool. They actually built that, and they said the crew used to go there after hours and go down it with their bathing suits.
Should be a Goonies ride at Universal.
They should be
instead of like a Minions land, or
Goonies.
Simpsons land, or whatever it is. So in all the times that you've watched this movie, do you remember like a specific time where you watched it where like I'm trying to think. Let me look at my sheet. Is there
any hour I watched it?
No, like is there like a specific time like you watched it that really sticks out in your memory? Like, did you watch it when you had a bad day, or like did you ever introduce this movie to someone other than me?
I usually watch this movie now in like October because in the Walsh's house it says October and it's just like a fall feel. You see it on like during October. You see like 13 Nights of Halloween, you will see the Goonies on in October because it plays.
Okay.
Because it's not a Halloween movie.
Right.
They just want to portray it as it. It is not, but again, you'll see Gremlins, like Gremlins.
Yeah.
The original Gremlins 2, not the number 2, but you'll see Gremlins as well.
Yeah. I mean, Gremlins
That's
technically is a Christmas movie. But it can also be a Halloween movie.
And a horror movie. I mean,
Halloween horror.
We're just going to go... Just talk about that really quick. So Gremlins is very, 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 very dark for a PG movie. Killings, a PG movie.
Yeah.
That could be rated PG-13, maybe R
well,
today.
The whole Santa Claus story with the father.
That one's not,
and just the Gremlins
kids,
would be terrifying to children. Bring it, everything's connected here.
Yeah.
Do you know the movie that caused the PG-13 rating to happen?
It was Young Guns 2, right?
No, it was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Jones.
Oh, it's because
of like
the face melting?
No, just like everything in like the sacrificial, like when they get to the cult temple, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of like crazy stuff in that temple. There's some really scary images in Temple of Doom. But and again, Kihei Kwan, Indiana Jones, Goonies, it's all connected.
Yep.
Have you ever like shown this movie to anyone? Like, have you ever, other than me, like, have you ever introduced it to someone, like a family member or a friend?
I don't think so, because I think everyone that I know has seen it.
So I'm just the one.
Not to put you down.
But
I'm just saying,
fine.
Like,
I mean,
people introduced it to me way when I was little, as I said before in the beginning.
Yeah. How do you think this? This is a big question. I don't know. Do you think this film has informed who you are, if at all? because you pretty much grew up with this movie.
Yeah. I like going on adventures. I like trying stuff out and meeting new people. I mean, as Chunk does, he meets new people.
Yeah. Well, he meets new people, all right.
But again, I think in today's, I don't know if it in the 80s are just trying to make fun of, but basically he looked beyond what they look like. So basically, it's a message that's basically saying, like, it doesn't matter what you look like. This is how your personality is. Just get along.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what they're trying to push there.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about that. It's just like they look he looked past his look because his obviously his family, the Fratellis, basically disliked him and treated him like
the sloth Chunk connection. Yeah. I like
so
that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like the scene where everyone's on the pirate ship and you're saying because Sloth and Chunk go down to the tunnel and you're saying, wow, you got Stefan Mouth and you got Andy just. She swats her with the sword and she just falls down. Brand tries to grab because her hands are tied. It's just like you just see them out of nowhere. Just like, oh. If it's like I know they went down the tunnel, but seeing this so many times, it's just like that's like my favorite part. Is just like they're like Chunk, you just hear Mom saying, "Sloth, how did he get out?"
Yeah, how did they even get down there? I mean, it doesn't
no,
matter.
because they went after he called the sheriff's thing. They went. Sloth went down. Mm-hmm. But I'm just like, okay, that's how. What I don't understand about this is questions that we probably. How'd you get up on there and just slide down? How'd you get up on top of the ship?
I mean, it's Sloth. I mean, Sloth can do whatever.
I don't understand.
Sloth is almost like a Superman, in a way.
Yeah.
Reference.
Yep.
I love that reference.
Yeah.
Even with the music.
Sloth.
Did John Williams do the music for this? I feel bad that I didn't look at that.
I thought he did. He might have.
Because that's like his tune for Superman. So
Donner could have asked for permission because he directed it. Maybe he said...
That's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Donner, Superman. Yep.
Wow.
It's all connected.
Now I really need to find out if John Williams did the music.
Mm-hmm. So we've talked about some favorite scenes. We've talked about...
What are your favorite scenes?
What are my favorite scenes? Anything with Data.
The whole movie. The whole.
I love the call to I love Chunk's call to the sheriff, and he's like, again, Lawrence. Like
Lawrence?
that's just like perfectly informs his character. Like,
so I'll stop you there right now. Just hold your thought. When he says Lawrence, when I think of the city of Lawrence, I automatically think of Chunk because he says Lawrence.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Lawrence? No.
Yeah.
So continue.
Yeah. So I love that scene. It's funny because Chunk initially was very annoying to me, but then now that I think about it, a lot of my favorite scenes are of Chunk.
Rocky Road. That's Sloth.
Or when he's they're like, all right, kids, start talking, and then he just
tells his whole life story.
He's like confession at church. And he's like, I pushed my sister down the stairs. And I blamed it on the dog. And I'm like, Jesus.
So one of those stories he talked about fat camp. He actually did go to a fat camp, but there was someone that got kicked out. But the thing you saw me, he's telling he got kicked out. He noted he saw someone that got kicked out, so that's a true story. But he didn't get kicked out.
Wow.
And he loves to wear hats. Like Jeff Cohen, when he was younger, he loved to wear crazy hats.
Yeah. Did he wear hats in the movie? I thought he just had his fro.
No, I'm talking about the actual actor.
Oh,
when he did interviews, he was always wearing a hat. So.
Oh, okay. I do like that he's always got a Hawaiian shirt on.
I do have a Hawaiian shirt. I didn't wear it today because...
I got a Hawaiian shirt too.
Yeah, and I think I have the red jacket down in my basement. I'm going to have to wear it one day and...
And maybe it's just the fact that I've seen too many movies, but when he's trying to wave down a car to get him to the sheriff's department, and then it's obviously a Fratelli brother.
So did you in your mind you were saying it's the Fratellis? It's the Fratellis. Were you saying that when you saw that?
Yeah, well, just the fact that we hear a voice but we don't see him.
You can just hear, "What's the problem?"
Yeah. And you just see again, great acting on Jeff Cohen's part. His face changes.
Yeah,
and then I love how they have it positioned where you have the mirror. And then the light's on, it's right there.
And you're probably like, no!
I'm like, there you go. And also I'm like, come on, Chunk. You couldn't tell?
He's screaming, though.
Yeah. So, I enjoy Chunk and Data. There's also the part where Andy wants to kiss Brand.
Oh, yeah, that scene.
And then, when did you get braces? Or what happened to your What happened to your braces?
Mikey, that little
Yeah. I was like, oh, man. That's...
And then Steph's like, next time you do it, have your eyes open. It's a whole different experience.
Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus. This is one of those, like, cult classic movies that people always want a sequel to. What are your thoughts on that?
So, they were doing something on Disney Plus. They, I think Fox bought the right to it. They were going to have a show, a series. I don't know if it's still going on, but it's going to be on Disney Plus. They wanted to do, it's basically like a show. A teacher wants her students to recreate scene by scene of the Goonies, and it was supposed to be picked up by Disney Plus. I don't know if that's still going on, but that would be interesting to see.
Is Goonies a Fox? I thought it was Warner Brothers.
It's Warner Brothers, but I forget of how that came about. But I mean, if they were to do that, I mean, it's owned by Warner Brothers, so put it on Max, HBO Max, formerly now Max. I mean, they're going to put the new Harry Potter series. That will be very, very different. Because
that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah,
that
that is completely. Yeah, I can't even go into that. That's.
I don't know how you would do a direct sequel to this because all the kids are grown up, obviously, and one has passed away.
Yep.
And then most of the adults are dead.
Wait, kids? Who passed away?
I thought Corey.
That's Haim.
See,
Corey Haim.
They're best friends. I mix them up.
Yep.
So, okay, but I don't know. Like, it's not going to be as
Feldman was on a podcast recently with Christy Carlson Romano, who played Ren Stevens on Even Stevens, and he was basically saying that he was messed up after his friend passed away, Corey Haim. He met him on the Lost Boys set, and they were just buddies. But they both
auditioned for this movie.
Yeah, they did. So Corey Haim did audition for this movie, and he didn't get it. And they didn't even know each other then. And then they just, for some reason, they liked... Well, again, it could be nepotism here because Feldman was in Gremlins.
Was he?
He was, he actually played, do you remember the scene where Billy brought Gizmo home and...
I can't... It's been a while since I watched Gremlins.
All right, so...
Probably since I had to watch it for the podcast.
I forget what his name was in that, but he was, like, little. And this was, like, a year prior, so they probably filmed Gremlins, like, probably maybe late 83 or...
Billy had a younger sibling, right?
Are you talking about the little kid?
Didn't Billy have a
No, I think it was an only child.
Okay.
Billy was an only child. I think it was, I'm like losing track of what this kid's name was, but it was Corey Feldman, and Corey Feldman was the one who accidentally spilled water on Gizmo.
Oh, okay.
That's why. And you saw all the gremlins appear. That's Corey Feldman with his little like coconut head hair.
Coconut head.
Yeah. And then and then in the Goonies you see it's spiked and it's longer a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. It's been a while. Again, I guess I need to rewatch Gremlins. Sorry, Flynn.
That's what the Gremlins does sound like, but
you just over-modulated your mic. Maybe. It's all right. It was just for a second. Where are we in our magical journey of Gremlins?
Goonies.
Goonies. Oh. I thought we were talking about Gremlins.
Going back and forth.
Have you ever read the novelization?
I heard stories about the novelization, but I never read the novelization. There's actually a chapter near the end of the chapter where I'm cracking up.
I think I know where you're going with this.
About how Chunk told his parents about Sloth.
Yeah.
And he got his like bar mitzvah.
Yeah, he got a bar mitzvah.
And I was cracking.
Now, why we couldn't have that in the movie is a travesty.
That would have been. See, I don't know if it would have been a longer. It would have been like, I don't know if it'd be like a waste of certain like.
You could probably do that as like a credit scene.
Yeah.
Credit scenes weren't really a thing back then.
There's no post-credit scene, unfortunately.
I know, the credit scenes weren't really a thing back then. And I guess there was a video game, too, at some point?
Yeah, I think released in the United States and Japan.
Okay.
It's called The Goonies 2, with the numerals.
Okay.
So I'm like,
And what? So it's like the video game's like a sequel.
Yeah, I never played it. I never really got into that, like that sort of thing, but I'm just like, you know what? Why are you doing a Goonies 2 when people... Because I think it was on one of those, like, things that look like video... Like, not video... They look like video cassettes, but it was one of those, like... video game cartridges.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people are probably like, oh my god, the Goonies 2!
Yeah.
And it's just like, the VHS, wait a minute, this is a game. So they're probably, so I'm like, why? It's just like, they definitely thought that was going to be a sequel, because we got, again, going back to Flynn's episode, Gremlins 2 got a sequel, but it came out in 1990. So that's 6 years after the first one, which was released in 1984. And again, very, very brief. I know, I'm so...
Gremlins 2, man.
Flynn, if you're listening to this, I know we're going back and forth, because these movies came out like a year after each other.
I know.
So, and you said Gremlins 2 is very... It didn't make sense.
It's out there, man.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's
wild.
Like a fever dream or something.
It is a fever
and
dream.
I watched it, I'm like, wow, this is...
It's very different from the first one.
Yeah, so imagine if Goonies had the same concept, if they made a sequel. It wouldn't make sense, but like, wow, I'm just going to stick with the original.
Yeah.
Some movies are not meant to have a sequel, like E.T.
Yeah. I mean, you could have done, like, a couple more Goonies movies. I mean, the concept of, like, kids, like, going off on, like, adult adventures, adult treasure hunts, you could have made a franchise out of that. It's too late now.
Yeah.
That they're all grown up. It's been over 30 years. And plus, I feel like a lot of, like, other properties have taken inspiration from that. Like,
Yep.
we already talked about Rugrats. We already talked about Hey Arnold,
Stranger Things. So just, all right, why are we going to...
So Goonies really, like, paved... Maybe not even the Goonies paved the way, necessarily. I mean, like, we could go all the way back. I mean, we could say Little Rascals.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Well, they got into mischief, but they got caught. The Goonies, they got into mischief, but they were smart about it and basically just found a way to...
This is like Little Rascals or Rugrats meets Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like
Which actually did the opening scene in the Rugrats movie, an Indiana Jones parody.
Everything is connected. Everything is connected. What was I going to say? And I also like how... Spielberg, Indiana Jones...
I thought you were going to say Varys.
No. We're not going to start treading on other people's episodes.
No.
I'm just saying, because, like, Spielberg's, like, handiwork is very much, like, prevalent in this film. Because you see, like, a lot of the booby traps from, like, Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Like, it's a comical, like, adventure expedition, but there's also, like, some darkness, some horror. And also, like...
A lot of skeletons.
That's true.
Yeah.
Originally, like, or typical with, like, an Indiana Jones film, like, he doesn't get the treasure that he's after. And it ends up being, like, sort of like a life lesson. Like, oh, like, it's more about, like, the connection to people and stuff.
However, in this one...
Yeah, the kids get to have their cake and eat it, too.
Yeah.
Because Mouth stole some... I almost said stole some marbles, but he lost some marbles.
Mr. Walsh. Mikey Walsh. Because he had his marbles, he put them out in the Fratellis, forgot to check it. And,
yeah. I mean, if I was Rosalita, I would just kept those to myself.
No feed him in. Nobody even a model.
No sign.
No sign.
I would have just kept those to myself.
Yep. I guess you really wanted to help the Walsh's family, and...
You know what? I give her credit, because everything she learned about the Walsh family from Mouth.
But in the beginning, the mother says she speaks no English, so how would she understand what was going on? That's what I want to know. And that's another one.
I mean, you can understand it, but you can't.
Yeah. Maybe that's why.
That's why. Yeah. What do you think some of the most important messages or themes of the Goonies are?
Don't give up. Mm-hmm. Always stay close to your friends. Mm-hmm. Always look past someone's physical appearance. Mm-hmm. Love.
What do you think this film says about growing up?
I would say probably adolescence. You're gonna be younger. You're gonna go on adventures. You're gonna get in trouble. If you do something good, great. If you do something bad, you're gonna hear about it. And basically, it's very like suspenseful. I mean, like it's kids being curious.
Yeah.
And they're basically just trying to help out. Basically, overall, they're just trying to help out their parents by not dealing with another situation of going to another school, go to a new house, and just having them move and basically saying goodbye to everybody. And basically, in the end, they're just trying to help their parents, their family, to stay where they are, and that's basically what they did. That's a really good message. You're basically helping out. It's family.
Yeah,
their friends are family, and it's the very end of it is really good when they all meet each other, and when Data sees his father.
Yeah,
you can't hug a photo. You can't hug a
photo. Down. Yeah, I like that line.
Yeah,
it's a coming of age story. Yeah, the kids take action. they take their responsibility into their own hands.
Mouth and Steph make up, and they basically like each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like they're not just...
Mike gets his first kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does Brand.
Brand.
Too, kind of.
And then Troy...
Troy's just a jerk. Here, I don't have this on my sheet, but I'm just going to throw it out at you. What do you think it means to be a Goonie? Because they've given themselves the nicknames. Is it just because they live there, or do you think there's something deeper there?
I think, well, one, they live there. They just call them on the Goon. They live on the Goondocks, so the Goonies. And I just think they were just like they said, like when Chunks in the attic, we're the outcast. Yeah. They just wanted to be just something different. They don't want to follow what they want to do. They do their own stuff, so they don't matter if they were the outcast. I mean, in the deleted scene where, again, where they're in the convenience store, Troy's trying to light up the map with a cigarette, like a lighter, and basically there's like Troy's like basically he thinks the elite because of what he is with his family and stuff and the riches and stuff like that. And you see in that deleted scene, Andy and Steph they look very sad for them because it's like they're just stop picking on all these kids. Like they didn't do anything. They're just regular kids. Just let them be.
Don't count the outcasts out.
Yeah.
The underdogs.
Yeah, and
really.
basically they saved the day too. I mean, they basically got the Fratellis, except for Sloth, who basically did nothing. He did nothing. He was chained up, but he
did some fighting.
Yeah,
kind of.
He's like the protagonist. Basically, he was basically, and then he was fighting back for himself.
Mm-hmm. And also, I thought about this very much like Home Alone, and also like I don't know how well you know Lemony Snicket, A Series of Unfortunate Events. Yep. It's very much in the same theme of where like it's a dark world. The kids are the good guys, and they're kind of on their own, and the adults are very like I was gonna say dumb, or like the adults are the bad guys.
Yeah,
the adults are useless.
Here's with Lemony Snicket, the 2004 I believe Paramount film.
Yeah,
as we're talking about, I saw that.
So the 2004 film, the Netflix series, the books.
They knew, like obviously at the very end, you see that Jim Carrey's character gets everything that he did to the kids planned out, and that's great to see. In Home Alone, you don't see that. Kevin doesn't say anything about the burglars. I didn't do, like they don't know. They don't even know the second one.
Yeah,
that's what bothers me. I'm not saying I love Home Alone, but it's just like that. Maybe that's someone, but something he should have said, but that probably wouldn't have been like frantic. Okay, we're never.
Well, we can't pick Home Alone apart too much.
Yeah, no.
I mean, like it would have been a much quicker movie if he just called the cops. Let's be honest. He was just having fun hunting them.
Yeah,
he's a sick child.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like the Goonies. It's very much, hey, the world is dark. You know, learn to rely on yourself, rely on your people, take care of each other, charge your own destiny. Very much so. Yeah. It's a very fun movie. Thank you for introducing me to it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yep. And as we approach the end of the hour, what do you think allows audiences to connect with the Goonies? And we've probably touched on a little bit, but just to wrap it all up.
It feels like every one of these characters, if you look at each individual character, they're probably saying, that was me when I was a kid, or that was me when I was a kid. It's just like, was that me when I was a kid? They say, like, that could have been me, or that was me. Like, basically, they could see their personalities within these characters. Maybe
you get to know, again, that opening sequence, you get to know them all pretty quickly. I thought Data was homeless at first.
Yeah, when you see it, it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
He lives right next door to the Walshes. Like,
yeah.
And you see his sister get his bike.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think that was his actual sister.
I did not know that was Data's sister.
No, but that was
his actual.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that was his actual little sister.
Nice. Anyway, so sorry I interrupted you.
No.
What do you think allows audiences to connect with the Goonies?
They probably see each other like as themselves. Like maybe they were an outcast, or maybe they were popular. Just say, maybe I don't want to be in this crowd. I want to be in that crowd. But again, I don't want to get into like crazy stuff like that. Just just pouring you down or something like that. But pouring you down. Yeah, they probably just connect by just seeing this character. Like, who do you feel? What character are you? Do you feel like you represent any of the characters that when any of that age?
I honestly like a little bit of all of them, in a way. Like, I definitely am that. I was, and yeah, I'll say was because I'm older now. That optimistic, daydreamer, adventurer like Mikey. Mouth, I probably talked a big game, and I was really just a little softy. I definitely was like inventive and creative like Data, and like Chunk, I was just a goof.
Yeah.
So I think they all check off the boxes in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I definitely I connected with these guys, and again that whole idea of going on a little adventure on the weekend with your friends, playing pirate or playing Indiana Jones and stuff. That really hit me home. We've been talking to Nick Gilio. Are you going to ask me why the Goonies matters to me now? No.
Wait, what?
Oh, did you not? Oh, so
I'm confused.
No, because I'm about to ask you why does the Goonies matter to you?
Oh.
And then at the end of the How to Train Your Dragon episode, Nick turned it on me and he says, "Why does it matter to you?"
Oh.
But no, I'm the host. Oh, you're the guest.
Yeah.
Why does the Goonies matter to you?
I just like the whole concept. I love the friendship. I love the bonds. I love the family scenes in there. I just love the whole thing. I just love the adventure. I love the suspense. Mm-hmm. I love how Chunk basically saves some of the day by not letting everyone drown. And, I just love Sloth just saying, you know what, I'm Sloth now, and I'm getting my share of this.
Yeah.
And they it's a great ending because they save their houses.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very fun fantasy wish fulfillment adventure movie. Yeah. I love it. Thank you for introducing me to it.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for finally coming on the podcast, buddy.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do another one.
I know where to find you.
Yeah.
10 feet away. But yeah, thanks again for introducing me to a movie that I probably should have watched a long time ago.
Yeah.
And probably will watch again. Maybe in October now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goonies is a Halloween movie. Who would have thought?
Yep.
All right. Folks, thank you for listening once again to Movies That Matter. If you'd like to get in touch with me about the show, you got some comments, some criticism, or maybe some movie recommendations, you can find me at moviesthatmatterpod@gmail.com. Also Movies That Matter Pod on Instagram, and also Movies That Matter on Twitter, if Twitter still exists by this point, or X, whatever you want to call it, just minus the T at the end of that, so it's Movies That Matter. And support all the hardworking actors and writers and actual creative people that make these movies. WGA strong, SAG-AFTRA strong, and just like that, the real world is scary, just like in the Goonies. And when times are tough, just take a minute to watch your favorite movie or TV show and escape for a little bit. Watch what you love. Entertainment is subjective, and that's not a bad thing. This has been Movies That Matter. I've been your host, Chris Flaherty. Robert Parris, thank you again for joining in with us.
Thank you.
And you all have a great night.